Exercise 39, question number 7. Again, I want to have a look at this one because I want to focus on the two ways that you can express the answer. When you've had a go at this, you may want to have a look at the little extension on this, which is to rearrange the same formula for A this time and write the answer in two possible ways. So let me go through the solution, and then at any stage you can pause it, and then maybe you want to have a look at the extension bit at the end. So if I want to rearrange this for R, well, the first thing to recognize that R is inside a term that's in the denominator. In other words, it's underneath in the right hand side of this formula. So multiply both sides by that whole term to get the 1 minus R up at the top. So multiply by 1 minus R. If I do that, S times 1 minus R equals A. Now I can go two ways here. Probably the easiest way would be to divide both sides by S to get rid of this. So this term, 1 minus R, has all been multiplied by S. So divide both sides by S. I could multiply out the brackets, but that would make it slightly more long-winded. We would get to the same answer in the end, though. You might want to try that yourself. But if I divide both sides by S, I get 1 minus R equals A over S. Now I want to get R on its own. Remember, if R, the term we're after, is negative, then add it to both sides to make it positive. So the next step would be to add R to both sides. So 1 equals A over S plus R. Now we're almost there. Subtract A over S from both sides. So 1 minus A over S equals R. It's normal to write the formula so that the subject, in this case R, is on the left hand side. So write R equals 1 minus A over S. And that's one form of the answer that's given in the text. How do we get to the second form? Well, if I look at this right hand side, I can try and make the denominator the same. So S over S equals 1. Any number divided by itself is always going to give the answer 1. So I could rewrite 1 as S over S minus A over S. Now, because the denominator is the same, I can write them both over the same denominator in the same way as thinking of a fraction like 2/3 plus 1/3. That's the same as 2 plus 1 over 3. We can add them because they're the same denominator. So I can rewrite that as R equals S minus A all over S, which is the other solution in the textbook. If at this point here you were to multiply out the bracket, so at this step here, then you would probably come to that solution if you went that way. So it might be worth having a look at that. I'll run through that solution on the next slide, and then we'll look at that extension question. So going back to this, S into 1 minus R equals A. We might decide at this point to multiply out the bracket. S minus SR equals A. Now, the term that involves R is negative, so add SR to both sides, and then see if you can go from there. So adding SR to both sides. Now, if we look at the right-hand side, What's happened to r? It's been multiplied by s and then a added, so get rid of the a. So subtracting a from both sides. Now r has been multiplied by s, so divide both sides by s. And now you can see that that in fact is the second solution. And we've proved that they are in fact the same thing. So it doesn't matter which way you go with this formula, you'd end up with the same answer. Once I got to this point, I might say to myself, well actually, they're both divided by s. S minus a is all over s, so I can split that into s over s minus a over s. Of course, s divided by s is just 1, so r equals 1 minus a over s. Okay, now what about this extension part? Well, back to the original formula, s equals a over 1 minus r. Rearrange for a, and then write it in the two possible forms. See if you can do that. So the solution follows. Multiply both sides by 1 minus r equals a. Noting I put a bracket around the 1 minus r because s has to be multiplied by that whole term. So that's one way of writing the answer. A equals s into 1 minus r. The other way of writing the answer is to multiply out the brackets. So we could also write that a equals s minus s times r.